Hey YouTube, what's going on? I got another video for you. I'm going to be doing the Martingale. I'm going to be using red and black. I'm going to rotate them, whether I win or lose. I'm going to be rotating them. I'm going to do 2 on red, 2 on black, and then I'm just going to keep going back. 2 on red, 2 on black, 2 on red, 2 on black, and like that. And this will keep you from losing in like long streaks of colors. It works out pretty good. I just want to let you know that. Alright, so what I'm going to do at the end of this video is I'm going to recommend what you would use as a bankroll, whether you use dollar units, $5 units, $10 units, or $25 units, or even $100 units. I'm going to give you a recommendation of what the bankroll should be. Just watch the end of the video and I'll recommend those to you. Alright, welcome back. We're going to try another one. We're going to do a Martingale, but we're going to switch from black and red. We're going to keep switching back and forth. No matter what, we're going to go 2 black, 2 red. Okay, and here we go. So we put 1 unit on red, and we're going to go ahead and spin. Alright, that's a win. So we're going to just repeat the bet, rebet and spin. Alright, that's a 15 black. Alright, so we did 2 on red, now we're going to do 2 on black. So we're going to increase the bet. 2, we're going to increase the bet. And that's a black. Good thing. Okay, now we're going to put 1 more on black because we won. Alright, that's a win. Now we're going to go to red. We're going to put 1 on red and spin. Alright, that's a win. So we're just going to rebet that. So rebet and spin. Alright, that's a black. Alright, time to go back to black. But this time we're going to put 2 because we lost. Rebet and spin. Alright, that's a black. So now we're staying on black. We got 1 more on black. Alright, that's a red. We lost. So we're going to go to red. Back to red because it's after 2, but this time we're going to put $2 on it because we're martingale. Alright, that's a red. That's a win. So we're going to rebet and we're going to clear 1 of those out because we won. Alright, that's a green. That's definitely a loss. Okay, but we're going back to black now. So we're going to put 2 on black and spin. Alright, that's a win. Alright, so we're staying on black. We're going to go 1. Alright, that's a black. That's another win. Alright, so now we're going to go back to red for 1. And we're good. We just keep getting wins here. We're not doing bad at all. There you go. There's a loss. Okay, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to double that. Alright, and we're going to spin. And then we'll go back to black after this. Regardless of what comes in. Black, that's a loss. So now, for the first time, we're going to go to 4. Oops, but we got to clear that out. Got to put 2, 3, 4. 4 on black for the first time. I think we're going to 4 for the first time. Alright, so let's go for black. Okay, now we got a red. Alright, so we're going to rebet. And now we're going to double. It's going to be the highest we went so far. Alright, and hopefully a black comes in. Nope, a red. Okay, so now we're going to go to red for 16. I'm just going to put 18 and I'm going to double. So that should be 16 now. It is 16. All right, let's go ahead and spin. And come on, let's get the red. Even though 2 reds just came in, but hopefully we get a red. There we go, we got a red. All right, so now we can reset and go back and still stay on red and spin. We're up 9 units now. And that's a red. All right, so now we're going to go back to black and spin. Black should be due. It's been red for a long time now. There's a black. Good. So now we're going to rebet and spin. And hope to get one more black. Yeah, we did. All right, so now we're going to go back to red for 1 unit. All right, go back to red for 1 unit. All right, and that's a red. That's good. Okay, we're going to rebet. And one more time with red. All right, we got the red. All right, awesome. All right, now let's see where we're at. Okay, we're at 14. Okay. So we're just going to bet 1 on black. Of course, it's not going to let me. All right, we're going to spin without betting. I didn't want to do that, but we're going back to black. Good thing I did spin. Okay, so now we're going to go 1 to black. 1 unit on black. And let's see what happens. All right, we got a 36, so we're going to go back. We're staying on black, but we're going to 2 units. And spin. All right, that's a black. All right, that's a win. All right. Now I'm seeing here we go back to red for 1 unit and spin. All right, and that's a win. All right, now we're going to rebet and do it 1 more time before we go back to black. So red, that's good. Okay, now we're going to go back to black. 1 unit on black. All right, that's a 23. That's a loss. So we're going to go 2 units on black. And let's rebet and spin. All right, that's another loss. But we're going back to red now. So we're going to put 4 units on red and spin. All right, now when black comes in. Nice. All right, so now we're going to rebet and we're going to double it to 8 and spin. And after this, we'll go back to black. All right, well, we're going back to black. 1 too many, too short. But anyway, now we're going to go to 8. Actually, we'll just go to 4. We double it. That's 8. And double it again. That's 16. All right, and we're going to spin. Hopefully we get a black. We really need a black. Got a red. No good. We're down for the first time. All right, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to double again. This is $32 now. All right, hopefully we get a black. We did. All right. All right, so we finally won. And now we go back to red for 1 because we're back at the beginning. All right, and let's bet and spin. All right, that's a 33 black. That's okay. That's a loss, but that's okay. We're going to rebet. We're going to double it. And we're going to spin. All right, that's a black. That's another loss. Now we're going back to black. 1, 2, and we're going to double it. All right, and spin. All right, that's a red. All right, so what we're going to do is rebet. And we're going to double it again and spin. And we'll go back to red after this. All right, we got the win though. That was good. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to red for $1 this time. And we're going to spin. All right, let's see what we do here. I'm going to be reaching my evaluation point in a moment. And that's a win. All right, now my evaluation point. So we're going to put 1 on red. And we're going to spin. All right, we're up 20 units. So we're not going to let ourselves go below 10. So 10 is going to be our winning point. Our losing point, rather. And my goal is to let's shoot for 50 units, and we will reevaluate as we go, and we'll get that lower number up higher. Very important when you're playing roulette. All right, and now we play $1 on black and spin. All right, that's a black. That's a win. All right, so we're going to go black again and spin. And after this, we'll go back to red. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. So we're going to put 2 units on red. All right, and spin. All right, that's a red. All right, that's a win. So we can go back to, we're still on red. And we could go back to 1 though. Spin. All right, that's a red. All right. All right, so we're going to go to, we're still on, okay, no, we're switching back to black now and spin. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet. Rebet on black, and we're going to double it, and we're going to spin. We're due for a black now. All right, there you go. There's the black. All right, so now we're back to where we need to be, and now we're going back to red for 1 and spin. All right, that's a black. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet on red, and we're going to double it and spin. All right, that's a black. That's another loss. So we're going to rebet. Oh, no, we're not, because we're going to go back to black. So we're going to put 2 on black, and we're going to double it, and we're going to spin. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. All right, so let's rebet. And we're going to double it. And before we spin, let's see where we're at. We're at 18. We got $8 on. So if we lose this, we'll be calling this a video. And that's a black. Okay, that's a win. So we back up. So we can go back to red. Go back to red and spin with 1 unit. Actually, I think we're supposed to go black again, but that's okay. Red. All right, that's a $1 win. All right, so now we're staying on red for 1 more. And that's a black. That's a loss. Okay, we're going to rebet. And we're going to, actually, no, we're going back to black for 2. All right, just make sure. Yep, we lost 1, so we're going to bet 2. Okay. All right, we're going to spin. All right, that's a loss. That's a red. All right, so we go to 4. So we're going to rebet and double. And we're going to spin. All right, that's a black. That's a win. All right, so we're going to go back to red. And get 1 unit and spin. That's a black. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet and we're going to double the second time on red. All right, that's a 0. That doesn't help anyone. But we're going back to black for 4 units. So 2 units plus 2 is 4. Okay. And let's spin. All right, that's a black. That's a win. All right, I think it's time to reevaluate. But let's just place the $1 on red. All right, so reevaluation. All right, let's not let ourselves get below 15 now, okay? $15. We're going to walk away with at least $15. All right, so let's go ahead and spin this. Hopefully we get this win. That's a black. That's a loss. So now we're going to rebet. We're going to double it and spin it. All right, that's a red. That's a win. So we should be up 30 units. But we're going back to black for 1 and spin. Yep, we're up 30 units. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to double this and spin. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. All right, so now we're gonna put what did we just lose? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we lost that, right? 4. I think we lost 2. And we're going back to red. Yes, 2. So that's correct. All right, let's rebet and spin. That's a red. That's a win. Awesome. So now we're going on 1 for red and spin. You could do this with any size unit. It just remember you got to readjust your bankroll. With dollar units, I would say do this with $100 or more. And of course, times 100 times whatever you want to bet. All right, so let's go ahead and what did we just do? All right, we got 32. We just won 1. So rebet. Oh, it's not going to work. See, as soon as you hit that casino wars, all right, so we're going to have to spin without betting. I hate doing this. That's a red. I don't remember where we were. I think we were supposed to go 1 for black. All right, so let's just go back to black. If I made a mistake, it's not a big deal. We'll come back anyway. All right, so now we're going to rebet. And this time we're going to double and stay on black. All right, we made a win. I think it's time to reevaluate again. So we go back to red for 1. And let's reevaluate. I'm going to say We're at 15. Let's not go below 20 now. All right, so spin. Let's not let ourselves lose more than 20. All right, that's a red. All right, that's a win. Rebet. And oh, just rebet and spin. All right. All right, that's a black. That's a loss. So we're going to go to black for 2 and spin. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet and we're going to double and spin. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. All right, so we're going to rebet. Oh, no, we're not going to rebet. We're going to go back to red. And I think we had 4. And double it. And let's make sure. Yep, we lost 4, so we put 8. Okay, so spin. All right, this is the last one. Oh, actually, we should have stopped. All right, that's a red. That's a win. Technically, we should have stopped because that took us under the 20. So we should have walked away with $27, but being that I made the mistake and we won, we'll just continue. All right, so now we're still on red for $1. All right, that's a 23. That's a win. All right. So now we go back to black for 1. All right, we're at 36 now. All right, that's a win. All right, so now we're going to rebet. Yeah, we're just going to rebet and spin. All right. That's a 0. That doesn't help anyone. All right, so we're going to go back to red for 2. All right, and spin. $0. All right, that's no help. That's 2 zeros in a row. All right, so we're staying on red. And we're going to go up 2 more units and spin. All right, that's a black. That's a loss. So now we go back to black for 4 and then double it. And double it. And spin. All right, now we're going to keep the $20 promise, I promise. That's a black, that's a win. All right. So now we're going to go stay on black and go for 1. All right, that's a black, that's a win. So we're going to rebet and spin. No, no, we go back to red for $1 and spin. All right, we got the win. All right, and now we're gonna stay on red for red. I think I came back to red too soon, but that's okay. All right, and that's black, so that's a loss. So we're going to go back to black for 2 and spin. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. All right, and we're going to rebet. What was I on black? I don't remember. I think I was on black. And I think it was 2. Or 4. Let's see, 4. Oh man, I know if I hit that button, it's gonna freaking it's gonna. Oh boy! All right, let me just clear it all out because I don't remember where I was, and I'd rather just spin without betting than Oh, actually, rebet. So I was on 2. And then we double. All right, and that's it. That's good. All right, and we're still on black. All right, that's a red. That's a loss. All right, let's rebet. Actually, we're going to go 4 on red. And we're going to double it and spin. All right, that's a black. That's a loss. All right, so where are we at? If I hit that Casino Wars and go down, it's not going to be able. It's not going to come back up. I know it. Let's see. So we got 25. We have to bet 16. No, we're going to walk away. So we'd walk away. We're going to walk away because I don't want to go below my valuation point, which was 20 units. So we're going to walk away with 25 units. That's what it is. Don't forget to like. All right, that was a great session. We made 25 units, and the 25 units, that's all depends on how much you want to gamble. 25 units at $10 units would have been $250. 125 at $5 units. It's a decent salary, decent day's pay. Or you could go really high and go to $25 units and win 625, but that's totally up to you. That depends on your bankroll, your situation, how much you can afford to lose. Now, I said that I was going to give you the recommendations for the thing at the end of this video. So that's what I'm going to do now. So my recommendation is 255 units, whatever that might be. So 255 units is the your crucial bet. That will take you 7 times without missing. Can you lose 7 times in a row? Of course you can, but only gamble what you can afford to lose. Let me know in the comments below what you think of my systems and how they're doing. And I'm going to put the like button right here, the subscribe button here. The subscribe button. I'm going to put a video here, and I'm going to put another video list over here, which will be and I'm going to put this playlist over here.